All right, so what I'm going to do is give you guys a quick update of where I am on this truck build. We were able to go see my son graduate from his basic training in San Antonio, Texas, which was really cool to see. There was like 488 airmen graduated the same day, which was amazing. So anyway, he ended up going to Shepherd's Air Force Base up in Wichita Falls, Texas, for the rest of his tech school. So super excited. He's doing really well. He's liking it. And yes, I have a big mouth, and I slipped up and told him that I'm building the truck. However, he doesn't know, the completion rate and all that stuff. So it'll still be an enjoyable experience for him. But regardless, I wanted to give you guys a quick update where I am so far on the build. All right, so we have the downpipe is finished. It's welded. The downpipe, or the exhaust, I guess, for the wastegate is done. It came out okay. I did put one of those little small bellows style solid ones. It's not solid, but it doesn't have the expanded material on it. On the wastegate downpipe, the reason why I did that is just for ease of installation, to be honest. I made a bracket. Let's see if I can squeeze it down in here. I made a bracket so it actually bolts to the downpipe itself, just to kind of hold it. It's pretty close to the control arm bolt in that area, which is fine. So it went 3.5 inch off the turbo down to kind of close to where the cross member for the transmission is, and then it goes to 4 inch after that. I made a bracket for the boost controller, and I made it out of aluminum, and it bolts to the 3 bolts there that for this fender support bracket. So this is an Innovate Motorsports setup. So basically it's a boost controller as well as a wideband. So we're going to see how well that works. Just have to obviously wire it in, and hopefully it works out well. It does have an AEM in it now, which everybody has problems with AEM. We haven't had any issues, but again, we had a stock 4.8 in it, so who the hell knows if it was really close or not. It didn't matter for our application. This was like a 16-second truck, at 85 miles an hour prior, so it could have been, wildly off on the air-fuel ratio, and I don't think it would have made a difference. So anyway, I got the front of the truck all finished up. Somehow it stopped recording because I don't know how to use this. But anyway, I got the front bumper back on, intercooler's all in, everything fits really well. The grill's in. It does have like a GMC Denali face thing. I don't care for it per se, but I think since it's been on the truck for so long, I think if we take it off, it'll just have a bunch of scratch marks on the front of the grill. So we're just going to leave it on there. Really can't even see the intercooler. I mean, just the bottom of it maybe, which is fine. I made another little bracket. I was going to use the 10AN version of the oil catch can from Evil Energy. To be honest, it just became more of a pain than it was worth, so I ended up buying this one. They're roughly the same price. I don't know, the quality's okay, surprisingly, for the machining of it. It's just a little small, so I made a bracket that allows it to grab the master cylinder, 2 master cylinder bolts, and hopefully it'll work out well. It's 3/8 coming out of it, so hopefully it'll go right to each valve cover, and it has a little dipstick, which I don't know how useful that'll be or not. It's kind of funny, I've never seen one with a dipstick on it, but hey, whatever, we got it, so we'll give it a shot. And also I made a little bracket for the cheap Amazon I guess manifold boost, whatever you want to call it, bracket plate thing. I mounted it right to the top of the intake manifold. So my plan is to come from this 3/8 here, kind of loop it around and go back to the same, I think that's 3/8 as well on the intake. So that'll hopefully work, and then that way I can tie in the fuel pressure regulator. I can tie in to for the map, has a 4-bar map sensor for the boost controller for the Innovate, so that little guy there, that little black box there, so I have to tie into that. And as far as the blow-off valve, I did use a VS Racing, I guess it's a 50mm, just welded that right there. Kind of fits nice in that little nook between the radiator hose and whatnot. So and I just went ahead and snapped it to this. This was the factory little twist clip guy. So what I did is I just heated up the hose with a I don't even know what I used, some sort of heat device, and kind of pulled the hard plastic hose right off of this fitting. It had like an O-ring in it. I took that off and then jammed this vacuum hose onto it. Hopefully that'll work well. So I did test fit the inner fender well. I had to cut a pretty good sized hole in it. Hopefully it'll be okay. This AC line, of course, is going to be a challenge. I've kind of knew that going into it. Definitely right up against the wastegate. So what I'm going to probably end up doing is just making a custom hose for that. You know, it is what it is. I understand. So it's tight fit. So I figure instead of it just melting itself to the side of the wastegate, I don't know how hot that gets, but I'm sure hotter than that hose can handle. So we'll just take it from there. And then, yeah, I ordered a 4-inch cone filter, just like a standard, whatever, Amazon special. It's like a Spectre, I believe. And I ordered a 90-degree 4-inch aluminum elbow. So I'll just, you know, clamp it here. If I have to fiddle with that, cut it or whatever. So just put the filter in this area here. I've sort of half-assed test fit the factory overflow tank. I think if I move it forward a little bit, I may be able to still make it work. It would be great to have that because on these trucks, the cap is actually in the overflow tank. The radiator doesn't have a cap. I know some people have put the inline caps in the top radiator hose. I've seen that fairly often. We may go to that. Depends if I can't get that overflow tank to fit. So anyway, we're getting close. So I just have to wire up a few things still. I have to wire in the IAT. I have to wire in, if I do decide, which I will, the Low Dollar Motorsports 0 to 100 pressure transducer that goes there. I'll just tie it into something that's got a 0 to 5 volt reference in the ECU. And also I got to wire in the flex fuel sensor. But aside from that, it's not a ton of wiring. I know Matt Happel actually commented on one of my videos regarding the fuel pump wiring. I just used the factory positive and negative. I may switch that out, pull the tank back down or whatever, and try to come up with something a little more robust, a hot wire kit or something with a relay control. I'm not sure. I think he's absolutely right. Probably does need something larger, more substantial than the factory, whatever it is, like 16 gauge or 14 gauge wire. So we'll see what I can do for that. I tell you what, let me, I'll pause the video and I'll go ahead and lift the truck up so you guys can see the crossover and the rest of the exhaust. All right, so the truck's up in the air now. See the intercooler piping there. Yes, it's fairly complicated, but I did this for a couple reasons, but mainly just because I felt there was plenty of space in that area that I could snake it in there and didn't have to cut through the core support or anything like that. Hey, look at that. Been looking for that piece of vacuum hose. Found it. So this is the crossover pipe. Yes, I have a hard time with this. I made it slightly unlevel to the bottom of the truck. Lost some sleep over it. Not enough for me to fix it, but it is in there now. It just bugs me because I really tried to make that straight, but it came out crooked. So I just used the, cut the flange off the factory exhaust and then welded that stainless piece to it. Comes down, does have a bellows, which hopefully doesn't blow out. Kind of comes up here, ties into the back of that cast iron manifold, comes down to the 3.5 inch, and then there's a 3.5 to 4 reducer. So it goes to another V-band clamp. I made this piece here. This is a straight piece of 4 inch. I put another V-band clamp here. The reason why I did that is because you'd never be able to get the exhaust off the truck. It'd be a real pain in the butt. So anyway, this is like an old muffler. Actually, I had on my diesel truck for a little bit. It's just a cheap $50 24-inch long 4-inch inlet outlet straight bullet style muffler. It's been on the truck for a long time. Has a decent sound, surprisingly. Had it on my diesel and sounded completely stock. So much in fact that I cut it off and put nothing on it, which is loud and annoying, but you know, I digress. So anyway, this up and over the axle section was pretty cool because this came off of like a 21 or 22 Duramax. A friend of mine bought like a Banks muffler back, outrageously over expensive tailpipe, I guess. I don't know, whatever. So he gave me this piece, and like I said, it almost fits the truck perfect. You can see where the Knox bung was, so I just welded a little tab over that. Anyway, yeah, it fits really good, surprisingly. It had some goofy, I don't even know what it was. It was like some sort of additional pipe that was connected to it here that I guess would like create like a Venturi effect maybe and suck some fresh air in. I don't know. I cut that off because it was way too long. But yeah, So the truck has mostly stainless exhaust. I guess stainless up to the muffler, and then the muffler back is just aluminized pipe. But again, I don't think it matters. We've had, from the muffler, all that stuff has been on the truck for quite a while, and it's always sounded okay. So I'm hoping the turbo will knock down some of the noise. I think I'm fooling myself. But anyway, here's the fuel filter setup I got. It's just a Wix canister style filter element with a 33107 filter. Some of the guys on Sloppy said that filter part number works pretty well. Hopefully it can hold, I don't know, 70 psi fuel pressure. Hopefully it will. I don't think it will have an issue doing that at all. And there's a flex fuel sensor with the bougie 40T bypass setup, which again, whatever. I liked it because it had a nice bracket. I won't lie, that's the only reason. It doesn't need it, I don't feel, but it's on there. So yeah, oh yeah, there's a custom roll cage tubing 4L80 trans mount that we made. I just cut the top of the factory 4L60 one off, welded a plate to it, and then just bent up that on the tubing bender and welded it on. So hopefully, you know, it's been strong. Haven't had any issues with that at all. So yeah, anyway, oh yeah, another thing we're gonna have to do as well, oddly enough, and I have no idea why, GM does odd things, but this is a crew cab. The crew cab comes with a one-piece drive shaft. If this truck was an extended cab, which would be the same wheelbase, is a two-piece drive shaft. Problem is, this is a one-piece aluminum drive shaft that's like 5 or 6 inches in diameter. I feel that it's probably gonna break, like almost immediately. So I know Matt Happel likes to fling a couple out each year on his dyno. I don't know if it's the same setup, probably. So thankfully there's PST. It's pretty common. They make a lot of race car stuff. They are like, I don't know, 15 minutes from me. They're a bunch of really strange characters over there, but hopefully they can make one for me, maybe out of steel. I mean, I guess I could put a two-piece drive shaft on it, but the issue is the cross member doesn't even exist for like the pillow block bearing, and maybe I could weld one in. I'm not sure. That cross member there is like in the wrong spot. So I'm pretty sure it is. I don't 100% on that, but anyway, maybe I'll just have a one-piece steel made. I don't know. We'll see. I probably will just put the aluminum one in it for now until I can get one made. It's really long, and some of these race car drive shaft places, they can only make a drive shaft so long. Hopefully they'll be able to help me out. If not, maybe I can go to like a heavy truck place and have one made. So anyway, here's pull this out of the way. So there's the downpipe with the wastegate dump as well. It's fairly close to the frame, not super close, but you know, if it hits or whatever, I can maybe modify that a little bit. I did massage the bottom of the 3.5 inch right where it comes close to the frame right there. Hopefully that won't be an issue. I'm gonna figure I put the wideband right here. It's got a nice little spot, kind of easy to get to it. And then I did weld bungs into the downpipe for the factory narrowbands. I'm not totally sure if this Innovate wideband / boost controller can mimic a 0 to 1 volt reference. If it can, I'll just put plugs in it and wire that in. But if it can't, I figure it's a lot easier to weld the bungs in now while the downpipe's on the table versus having to do it later if it's not able to do that. I think it can, but I'm not 100% on that, so I figured I'd just err on the side of caution. So yeah, anyway, that's where we are. So basically we're down to wiring a couple, you know, the flex fuel sensor in, wiring that pressure sensor in, wiring in the IAT, you know, finishing up obviously the installation for the boost controller wastegate deal, and then yeah, we'll take it from there.